G'day YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's video on YouTube. Today is of course a Thomas and Friends themed toy video, but this is not a review. I'm actually going to talk about the history of various Thomas and Friends toys in relationship to Tomy and Trackmaster, and some of the items I've got, basically, because I want to just show you some of the toys that have been highly evolved, and I've only got a limited choice or a limited selection of toy trains, as I really want to go ahead and talk about. And yes, I'm also currently working on, at the moment, some sort of toy review that will be released maybe around the afternoon or the morning, maybe on this evening, I guess. I don't know. I'm just kind of a bit curious, that's all, somehow. I'm just straightforward in a very slow and laborious sort of way. But first off, let me just go ahead and just hop into eBay and see what amazing Thomas and Friends toys are there right over at my computer. Yes, there's actually quite a lot of Thomas and Friends toys, and clearly I seem to be a person who really likes to raid through eBay just because I'm a complete psychopath at just looking at all sorts of Thomas and Friends themed toys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but boy, I seem to be a complete raider of different things relating to this franchise. Look, I could have bought this duck for £20 from the same seller who actually sold Henry. Oh, look at that, there's another duck. Quite impressive. Tomy and Trackmaster are certainly welcome here at all. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk properly. What's wrong with my mouth? But yes, I want to straightforward also talk about on how Tomy evolved into Trackmaster, and basically, you know, I'm not going to really rely on to how Trackmaster 2 became an absolute flop, because everyone knows that I don't own any Trackmaster 2 stuff because they're just freaking useless. They're just ugly. I don't touch them. That's why I don't, I'm against Trackmaster 2 because they are a total abomination. Like, look at this one here. Why? Why is Mattel doing this on purpose? Honestly, I would rather let Mattel and Fisher-Price, let all the fans of the franchise to actually, you know what I'm going to say next, don't you? If I was working at Mattel and Fisher-Price, I would be the only one, or any one of the other few people who would be working there at that company, who would actually love to understand and to listen to the audience, listen to the perception of what they say as well too, listen to the reviews. Okay, so that is my suggestion about Mattel. They are a complete stubborn company to really get into, because much of it is selling at a very relatively, how would you say, I think if you saw the All Engines Go stock, they're just stubborn at selling because none of them have been touched by kids. It seems like that Thomas and Friends has basically moved away from being a franchise that used to be so popular on many Christmas lists. Back in the good old days, we used to have Buzz Lightyear Toy Story themed toys, and Teletubbies, and Power Rangers themed toys. Nowadays, it's just Fortnite stuff, okay? Right, I won't go ahead and repeat the whole 6-7 meme that has gone absolutely freaking massive. Okay, so anyways, we've got a lot of amazing Thomas and Friends toys. As you can see here, we've got Salty and Track. And actually, there's some good news. Salty has been fixed. This is not the Salty that I'm on about. It's the green version of Salty. I could have picked that. He's actually quite a nice, cheaper looking design. But I also like his face, my ears, I'm Salty, the ultimate sea dog. Sorry, I can't really straightforward do things that well. But hey, look at this amazing stuff. And actually, the only ones I can achieve, let me just show you the pricing here. Very, very interesting. Let me just see the pricing. I would probably say about, I wonder how much did I purchase this duck. Okay, let me just say under £12 to basically, let's just say tick these ones to £26. I think that should be about it, because that should be a very good limit. Let me just stretch this pricing here. Again, you're going to be really careful of what you really are going to be purchasing at eBay. I should have actually closed these down, or else I can get a complete and utter message stating that, hey, I'm landing in hot water. But look at this awesome amount of rolling stock, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Guys, if you're looking at this video here, look at that. Just an amazing, lavishly detailed looking, that almost looks like a customized troublesome truck. That there, I think this mustard color one, along with that great looking troublesome truck, came with diesel 10, and I'm pretty sure that my assumptions were correct. Anyways, as I'm scrolling around, is that a Japanese brake van? Oh, lovely troublesome truck with that very thick coupling. Oh, that one's got a bit of a broken coupling. Okay, so basically, I can't see any further reductions about this. Ooh, a Tommy James that has been sold for £15 with good-looking eyebrows. But he's got the wrong coal compartment. That's actually the same coal compartment for Henry, which explains everything. Okay, so they haven't really got the right coal compartment. I think it's mainly exclusive for James, Edward, and Gordon. Henry's got like a very different tender coal compartment, which, you know, I think that's the problem with so many of these types of trains, especially with the tender engines. They've got this big compartment here, you know, especially with, you know, the bigger batteries. They can leak so much, obviously, and can be quite totally troublesome. And I'll talk about Salty later on, because he was one of the few trains that I seldomly played with until now, because his corrosion and battery terminal was straightforward. There's Green Salty. Apparently that is actually sold, and the price that you could have got this toy train back in the good old days. Wait, was that one actually customized? That's very interesting. Okay, let's play the video. Oh, that's very, very nice. I've actually got the same toy here. Oh, that is fantastic. Okay, oh, it's got a pouting troublesome truck. I don't know why. It's not really the right truck. Obviously it's the orange, plain looking troublesome truck, and there's actually quite a range of Tommy Thomas and Friends themed toys. Like, there's actually quite a massive apocalypse of this stuff being sold so well. Oh, there's a Chinese dragon. How cool is that? Wonderful. Percy. I actually got a Percy that is sold for £17, and luckily enough, the best part was to find the most trusted seller who actually sold that Percy. And boy, Percy ran, but did you see how excellent that Percy was running? You know, for £17. That there is a Tommy Emily, which is tender driven. I don't actually buy any tender driven engines, just because of this dummy locomotive here. If it's powered by the tender, it would falter so much on the auto rail points and other trick stuff and whatnot. There's a coach, which looks like a customized version of Annie Clarabelle. I can't really tell who. I think it's pretty much Thomas's carriages. There you go. There's a lot of like different characters. Ooh, I wonder why Green Salty is so popular right now, being sold here. Mavis's, and there's also some very impressive looking coach. Oh my gosh, Tommy Oliver's passenger coaches. No wonder how. Oh, I've got this set here without Thomas. Yes, it would be expensive if Thomas was there all by itself. And then you've also got these coaches. Oh my gosh, there's so many Tommy Olivers which are super expensive. I mean, it's not as stupid than just looking at Tommy Percy's. There's so many Percy's around here, it's not funny. Oh look, that's the cheapest Tommy Oliver I could actually get. He's got no connecting rods. I could probably buy a spare one. Do they actually sell like do they sell like rods? I can't really remember if they sell any rods. No, I don't think they don't actually sell any spare, you know, connecting rods. That's a bit of a shame somehow. But anyways, hey, is this Tommy or is it Hit Toy Company? Ah, it's a Tommy toy. Okay, so that's very impressive. Look, the traction tires look great. But it's a non-runner. Ah, that's not great. That's sad, isn't it? Oh, that's very sad. I suppose I could have actually and you know, oh, it says battery housing has corrosion and is loose inside the chassis. Ah, give me a break. Oh man, I'm starting to feel ticked off. But you know what's ticking me off? Hold up, one more thing. Okay, if you're basically watching this video, I want to straightforward have a bit of a complaint so far here. What's going on in the ceiling here has been a complete nightmare. Okay, so what you're seeing here is that most of the house here, I'm starting to see spider webs a little bit somehow, but right there is a totally different story. Okay, seeing that giant ceiling there with that discolorization, oh my goodness me, look at the leakage that has been going through an entree of what you're just seeing. It's just meandered a bit there, as you can see. It has just meandered a bit and has caused a massive staggering sort of leakage right here. I didn't even expect that to really occur. I didn't think that this was a problem, but what I witnessed was that there was something leaking underneath the ceiling here. And also, I've been doing a lot of painting so far, and I'm not actually going to show you what I've just painted. But as you can see, there's been lots and lots of painting. If I move around here, lots and lots of paint marks right over at the floor. And I'll tell you what, I actually do notice that this is actually going to start around the 29th of December of 2025, which is actually not a very good thing. I mean, what's going on with me today? Why do I feel like I just want to start complaining while making the whole video? I mean, that's just great. I can't believe I've just resided in this flippin' house when all of a sudden some sort of leakage has actually straightforward came about right over my neighborhood. I mean, what in the flippin' hell is that doing over my house? Okay? And the other thing is, why do I have to straightforward get exchanged from this room to the other room? You know, the middle room itself is just a little bit too cramped. Not only that, but it also straightforward deviates my normal setting, which is this setting right here. Okay, so there's me right over my face here. Sorry. Hello, lovely audience. Sorry about that. I'm just in the middle of a turmoil at this point here. I'm just complaining about just how stupid this next plan is going to be like. Obviously, this is not a good site. Okay, very importantly. Okay, so most importantly, guess what? So, right. Okay, I'm now starting to sounding a lot much more vocal and a little bit more ticked off. I know it's wet outside here because it's raining, but yes. Sorry, I'm just hearing things. Okay, I just really think back to myself. All of that is going to be cleared out. You know, the monkeys and the birds and that Malaysian flag. The alarm stuff is also alright. I mean, what is going on with this whole video? I mean, why do I have to start ranting here? Well, the reason I'm ranting is that this whole leakage ceiling is actually doing my head in. And the other thing is, that whole renovation plan with, let's just say, the paint marks that have been just straightforward, yeah, they're just too stubborn to get rid of. Why do I love that word so much, eh? My goodness me. Honestly, I mean, it would have been so much easier if I had to do it, because in that way, it would have been so much better if I did it sooner than later. Okay? Right? So, in order to say, hey, you're going to take out all of this flooring and stuff? Well, I'm sorry, that's jeopardizing my YouTube channel. That's basically it. Okay? So, the reason why I'm saying it's jeopardizing on my YouTube channel is because, well, guess what? 2 weeks is way too long. Okay? The reality check is, alright, let me get this straight. So, 2 weeks is too long, right? This whole renovation project, it's a flippin' nightmare to have 2 weeks without even making a video right over in this room. And that is a big problem in my world, because normally I tend to film videos here on this room, as always. Oops, sorry, I think you just saw something. I think. Right, I'm very sorry if I have to sound a little bit ranty. In fact, very ranty. I'm sick and tired of all of these renovation changes that are going to start from next week. I mean, that's a totally different story. I mean, that ceiling leakage is one problem, but that right there is, of course, another. And that's why I'm flipping mad about this. Right, let's move on to something positive, and let's go ahead and check out the history behind the Thomas & Friends drive units. Okay, right in front of you is a Tomy or Trackmaster Percy. It's a 1995 design. The face looks very, very good. But the most notable feature is that, yes, when you unclip his top, basically it's very, very simple. Now, the newer versions of Percy you would have got is just very, very interesting because obviously the new ones, well, I'll let me say, the newfangled ones that came out years after this design was released, you can still get it in eBay or Amazon. Obviously, the Japanese markets are also very happy to straightforward allow this type of model because obviously Tomy has basically won the bid to keep their merchandise available in Japan, obviously, and also other parts of Asia as well. When you turn it on, it's got a very... Oh, yes. Oh, Percy sounds very, very healthy. Nice one. It's got a very amazing sound. And I tell you what, when I turn it on, it's got that very comfortable looking sound. And many people will be comfortably asleep hearing that sound. It's just wonderful. I tell you what, guys, this is utterly stunning. So, this Percy here is, of course, the exact same drive unit. If I open the top, Thomas the Tank also has this similar sort of drive unit, Stepney as well. And there's this big black drive unit, which is actually really good. Considering that, hey, it's a fairly simple design. There's no, like, extra wiring that you just see on, like, the big tender engines and that sort of thing. There is a con about this drive here, and the fact is that I think it's the cogs, one of the cogs or one of the gears, I think that can, if they are broken, that can actually prevent your train from actually working and running that well. You know, the clutch problem that I was talking about in Thomas and at Percy and Stepney before. I think I've seen it on a Tomy Thomas that I used to have, but yeah. Obviously, you can basically buy spare parts if you want to, which is actually quite good. It's a fairly nice design. Percy is a cool-looking item. I think this is a sort of toy that all of you might have actually had as a child. Nice to have Percy right over my lap right now. Sorry, my hands. Okay, Percy, your job is done. Okay, let's do a bit of a duet. This is Henry and this is James. I should actually relate back to Percy that Thomas has the same drive unit, but I think he had 4 wheels before he had like an update of having 6 wheels, which, you know, it had like a middle dummy wheel, I think. Well, this actually can be commonly said with Henry and James. His wheels are basically kind of real. They do look like they're levitating, but they actually do they touch on the ground? I can't really remember. Quite a nice suspension on the middle wheel. It's actually quite a very nice feeling about this. Of course, we've got Henry and we've got James. Gordon uses the same design, but his fuselage or boiler is a little bit different, I think. Obviously, I think if I remember that, that's very much so. And the tender, Gordon's got a much more smaller tender and a bit longer tender than, let's just say, Henry, I think. But I think Henry's tender is fairly interesting. Look how unique this design here is. It's a wonderful design. And if I pick up Henry here, he was released just after Thomas. So I've got to remember this. So Thomas came first, then came Henry. He's basically the first tender engine to be produced. And most interestingly, he's also got these very unique looking drive sets of units. He's actually got like a very unique drive unit. In a sense, it's actually powered by the tender. And of course, there's also these wires, which they can easily be straightforward taken off so nicely. And people have done like dodgy wires and things like that. They've done like dodgy home fixes and that. Very, very nice. Very, very beautiful. It's still got the Duracell battery. I think it's a C size. This Henry is still very, very lovely, of course. A little bit loose, I suppose, hey? Yes. Suppose, hey, this is actually quite nice. If you open up the coal top right here, there's that lid right here. This can get easily lost. And quite often when you've got like bigger batteries, once this toy has got like a leaky battery, that straightforward is a nightmare, of course. The battery is in very good nick, of course. Let's take a look at James. I think it's a 1994 James. That Henry here was a 1993 Henry. It's a 2002 model. So is this James. James has got a similar connecting rod to Thomas, Percy, and all the other engines, which don't have this drive. I think Edward has a much more smaller design, and Oliver. I'll talk about that sort of driving. It is actually somehow quite unusual somehow. Very, very nice. Okay, so this is actually quite nice, as you can see. Apart from the fact that obviously people would love the look of the classic James. Wonderful design. Oh, hang on. What is going on? Oh, I haven't fitted in the battery in. Oh. Oh, I've got a battery. I think James, when I tried a battery, and I think he liked double A's more than C-sized. Probably because I actually, I think when I tested James as a 9-year-old, I think I actually preferred using double A's than C-cells because they actually were quite costly. Oh, I just felt something. Oh, why is it being loose? Hopefully it's not that lazily fitted in. Hopefully I can just... Obviously if your train doesn't seem to work, if the battery terminal is a bit loose... What is going on here? Give me a... I just don't know what's going on with James. I mean, I'm fitting in a AA battery. Is it working or is it not working? Oh, that's a bit weird. I don't know what's going on with James here. What is going on? I don't know why this is playing up. Maybe this battery terminal is seemingly seeing far much better. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe the battery terminal contacts, they just... Oh, they don't seem to work somehow. Oh, yes. So, this James is actually relatively powerful somehow. Oh, yes. I think it's the terminal. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think this James, he's okay. I suppose he had a bit of play. So, this James, he's had a fair bit of life, obviously. Yes, of course. Nice rattling sound, isn't it? It's nice. Obviously, if I tried a C-size battery, I think he's going to be out. That's what I'm probably guessing. I think that's one problem about his battery terminals. They might not always work with it, but probably rattling sound, isn't it? Oh, it's nice. Obviously, you know what? The face looks very, very nice. Anything you can get today is something a sight of the past. But then, hey, nice to get Tony James and Henry. Let me just go ahead and grab another engine. Obviously, I'm going to grab Duck, obviously. I'm also going to grab Luke. And I'm also going to grab, where's Salty? Where is that green diesel? That green dockside diesel. Where is he? Go. Alright. So, I've got 3 green engines to straight for review. Oh, yes. This is amazing. I've got Duck, Luke, and Salty. Oh, me hearties, as I'm about to go ahead and grab a goddamn screwdriver. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and start off looking at this beautiful classic one here. Oh, wait, doesn't make it... What about Toby? I haven't forgotten. What the hell is going on with me now? Where's Toby? That lucky 7 Toby. Where's Toby? Oh, hold on. Let me find where Toby is. Give me a sec and I'll find out where Toby is. Where's Toby? It can't be that getting lost. Sorry, I need to find where Toby is. I'm very careful with James and Henry because they've got like tenders and they've also got wires and stuff in them as well. Where's Toby? Where's that big brown box on yours? Ah, there's Toby. There he is. Right. Okay, so I've got Toby with me. He's not actually green, but hey, I can just straightforward make him as part of the whole range. Ooh, Tobias and the Half Pariah. Oh my gosh. Right. So let me talk about Toby first because this is a Trackmaster Fisher-Price Mattel version. This is actually very, very different. It is similar to Thomas, Percy, and Stepney because of the way it's been designed. Yes, but then what I really don't like is that what they've really introduced, the driving it doesn't sound as nice compared to what I've heard with Tommy Percy. One bummer is that you have to take the screwdrivers out. You have to take that screw with a screwdriver. Yes, it's often a safety feature. You can't take it out fully like that. You have to remove this middle wheel. It's a bit stupid actually having this middle wheel here, which is fake. Okay, right. This driving it is alright. Yeah, at least there's no corroded battery terminals here. Important to know. Yeah, hopefully there's none of it going on here. One thing to let you know, there's none of it going on here. There's no corrosion and stuff. And of course there's this little wheel as well. Can I actually put this back together? Get this little charmer to run again. Is it this section here? I think it's that one there. And then I can just actually hold up. Put the cover back on. Okay. What is going on? Have I got it on the wrong area here? I don't know. Bit different somehow, eh? Okay, we just re-screw Toby's wheel. Middle wheel here, which is fake. And what's interesting is that the traction tyres have been a bit more different. They're actually a bit more darker in colour than, let's just say, the Tommy versions. I don't know why. Is it to do with higher quality and cutting corners and cross-cutting? I don't know if that's the truth of this toy. It's not nice sounding comparing to Percy, I suppose, hey? But let me take a look at Duck, who is, of course, a fairly awesome toy. Yes, this toy is such a phenomenal one. I actually had it around Christmas. He was making some squeaking noises, probably because of the fact that this toy has never been used. Lovely face. And what's interesting about this model is that unlike Percy or Thomas, but like Toby, he's basically, I think Tommy Diesel and Tommy Devious Diesel, which has got the classic Tommy face style that everyone seems to love. And Mavis. Mavis is also quite very much stunning because actually, remember the easy ways to open this guy up? Sort of interesting in a way. Love the driving of these, but this gearbox is a nightmare to open up if it makes squeaking noises or if there's so much fluff and dust and cogs. Well, then that's it. Your train's dead and you can't fix it back anymore now. But what I really like about these is this C-size type driving. What I really like about that is that with the C-size driving, it sort of gave them a bit of weight on the tracks. And I'll just clip it duck stop back on. You know, I do love how it's all been made like this. Nice, isn't it, for having Duck like that? He is a fantastic runner. Okay, shut up, Duck. Lovely window detailing here. It's a shame that they haven't put an extra sticker on this window here on the left cab, which is actually on the right if it's faced like that. It's a fantastic model, but hey, choosers can't be beggars, as often said with me and Trackmaster. And also, yeah, Trackmaster 2 was a complete BS redesign change. Unscrupulous move, Mattel. Fisher-Price, if you're listening. Okay, let's take a look at Luke. He's still got the original battery, but he's actually running relatively a little bit slow. I do have Proteus, who is basically a repainted handle. It's basically, this driving it is very similar to what Salty has, but partially this part of the driving it has been covered because it's basically the driving it has been encapsulated inside of this. Well, there's the chassis itself here. The driving it is actually surrounded by this cab piece here and also the buffer detailings, and looks like a fake outside cylinder, I think it is. It's a bit different to Salty's driving it. If I turn him on, he does sound a bit he does actually sound a bit more different. If I unscrew Salty, you might actually notice, hey, there's actually a bit of a similarity between the two because you have to unscrew them like so. I do know that you can actually unscrew several models. I think Arthur and Rosie had the same sort of driving, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that they had like a Thomas type driving it, which had like a little gearbox inside. What's even more interesting is cutting wise, look at the drive in it. It's actually a lot much more different. You can see how much more smaller and a bit much more economic this is somehow. And what I really like to say is, hey, this design here is much more phenomenal in most, if not all, of the Tomy stuff. Like, let's just say Salty. I can't really remember which engines took this type of drive. I think there's just so many of them. I think that one there goes well with Bill and Ben, Scarloey, Oliver. Oh yes, I said Tomy Oliver, didn't I? I'm not sure if Duncan has the same drive unit. Neither Rusty, but I can't really remember which is which. It is somehow quite nice to see why. This drive unit here, I think it's the most common because, you know, it's much more easier to troubleshoot than, let's just say, having to repair this duck, okay, which he still uses, which is quite interesting to see why Duck uses that drive in it. But then, hey, you know what? Getting Salty and Luke is quite a nice bonus. It's quite interesting on how these drive units have changed in the Thomas and Friends realm. And yes, when Trackmaster 2 came along, they made it absolutely stupid. One of the worst decisions they've actually made was to build a drive unit, build a train or an engine which had like a much more widely pronounced lower activation tab, which was a little bit deeper than the surrounding wheels itself. Not good, Mattel, but this is the, you know, to have a profile like this is much better. And if I take a look at Duck's profile, look, this is the profile that should have been made in the first place. Okay, that there's also great. It's a little bit deep, but that's fine. Okay, so it will go through points, stop and go stations, or different trick accessories here. Luke also runs well, and this is what I really like to see, hey guys. I wonder if Mattel and Fisher-Price should collaborate with Tomy. Although I shouldn't say it because there's a lot of more of like competition going around surrounding with different toy brands, different toy giants, which are surrounding the two together. I mean, why so often do I really want to see you know, different toys which have been made from like different manufacturers and that sort of stuff? I'm Ease. I'm Salty. Why am I painting green and not my usual red style? Right, lovely details on this model here. I mean, that's actually quite nice to know. Mattel and Trackmaster did fix some of the detail errors that Tomy had, which it's not that perfect, but hey, I know they didn't care about just painting the splash of white at the front, but it looks good. Trackmaster Luke, very awesome model, proper narrow gauge engine sort of style train, very nice, lovely sort of design here, eh, guys. How could I go wrong? Very nice design of this train, I suppose. Say it is really awesome to have. Oh my goodness me! I tell you what, my collection of toy trains has grown utterly massive. But hey, the most phenomenal one is, of course, hello, my name is Duck, and I like to be on the Great Western Way. We know that, Duck. The Tomy Way is, of course, the Great Western Way. Wait, you're saying that, wait, why is my American accent here? Wait, you're saying that, Tomy is the Great Western Way? How dare you? I didn't think so about that. Okay, Doug, now you're gone. Right, that is straightforward about it. About the history of the Tomy and Trackmaster trains. It is interesting to see why most of which are powered on this, and also that as well too. And it's sort of interesting to see why Thomas is now powered by AA batteries. Actually, one AA battery, and now we're going to AAAs. And also the track pieces, you know. Very interesting. Strangely enough, I think in Japan, you have an exclusive model of... I haven't got the streamlining Thomas, but if I had, that would be really awesome. I'm actually quite curious to see how much the streamlining Thomas has. Ah, yes, the streamlining Thomas. I know there's a streamlining Gordon as well too. I think most of which in Japan, I think, in fact, Well, 90% of the Player Well stuff is found nowhere else on Earth but just Japan and the rest of Asia. Well, 90% of these trains here, of course, as I said earlier on before, they're found nowhere else on Earth other than just Asia. This is the only part where I could find a good, cheap, streamlining Thomas for £16.90. But look, the estimated delivery here is going to be around the 8th of January to the 22nd of January, around 2026, which is basically next year, of course. So, I don't know how good or bad this is. It's new in condition, but I don't know how good they are. If I was going to be doing a video of these, it's going to take a flippin' long time to make a toy review about this train. But look at this. Thomas is built like some sort of streamlined bullet with an Inclabo. How lovely is that? And that drive unit is actually quite fantastic. Mind you, look at how Thomas has aged so well as an 80th anniversary franchise. We've got the blue Railway Series face Thomas, and then we've got a gold Thomas with an Inclabo. Very interesting. Look at this. A gold, stunning Thomas the Tank. But look how much it costs. £85 dash, or sorry, I should have said the word dot, 58 pence. That is freaking expensive. I mean, that's buy beware, guys. I tell you what, even though it's new, these are rare. I do, guys. Go ahead and buy that, and then how much money you're gonna risk? Oh my goodness me, that is like a complete death trap to your wallet. My goodness me, look at those express coaches. Mind you, I'm starting to see, maybe if I click on under £55, then we're going to start to see a massive scale or scope of pricing. Oh look, £34.52 pence. Very interesting. Look at that. It's really amazing. You can just see how stubborn this is. Obviously, there's a lot of it going around here. Oh, is that a Tomy Streamlined Thomas? Which sells for £26.65. It seems quite cheap, but on the other side of it, no, I think so. Well, look at that. Streamlining Thomas has got like a very transparent looking coach. Oh, it's Clarabelle. Where's Annie, by the way? That's quite weird. Oh, look at that. Proper looking CGI face Thomas with that redesign. Oh, look, Thomas's face has been redesigned so much in the years. So much so that the Thomas franchise is actually standing very, very strong. Oh, look, there's more cheaper versions. £14.14, but then there's also an extremely expensive pricing of how much the delivery costs. Man, I tell you what, this is extremely dangerous. There's even more of that as well too. Streamline Thomas, it's got that drive in it, very similar to how Salty is designed, but I think it's black and there's like a good change. I think some driving, it's quite interesting. You have normal speed and then high speed, so it's basically like a 2-speed driving. I don't think I've ever seen, maybe it's going at 2 speeds or that going at 2 speeds. This is something I would have said, hey, maybe if there was like a high speed driving it for, let's just say, the Shinkansen bullet train, that would have been incredible. But hey, this is what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at random Thomas and Friends stuff here, okay? Because I'm actually looking forward to see lots and lots of Thomas and Friends stuff. Oh, Dennis is quite rare. What did you say about that? No, I wouldn't say he's that rare. But is he working? Quite curious somehow. He only appeared in one episode. Pretty slow, but hey, that's what you're going to be very careful of. Looks are deceiving when you start to, how would I say it? Is there a couple? Okay, so there's just those plain looking wagons here. Looks are deceiving when trains like this are involved, because you never know of the driving it, the gears, cogs, the motor, the battery terminals, everything on the trains. Also, don't forget, some trains might have rusting on the axle seat. And actually, I forgot to tell you about the green Salty that I had. Let me just go back to it, guys. Okay, I've actually teleported back into Salty mode. Again, looks like I'm not the Salty one, at least. I'm going to take out the battery here because I really want to inspect the battery terminals on this toy and see how good or bad this toy has been played. As you can see here, There's a fair bit of corrosion right here. That could be stuff right over the front part of the driver unit. There's a bit of corrosion right there, mainly at the front. And it would have never ever been that long until these toys would have been totally rendered useless. At least my dad has used alcohol, which is a very good substance to get rid of nasty, blocking, lazily, straightforward, persistent alcohol, which obviously, well, actually, persistent corrosion and rusting as well too. The other thing you're also going to be very careful is that now I've seen some problem solving here is we haven't got one full axle, we've actually got two separate wheels. Very, very interesting, isn't it? Very, very nice. I love the driving it's here, but I think this feels, yeah, I think it feels a little bit cheap. I think they sort of, you know, cheapened down the quality a bit. That's not very terrible build quality. But hey, it's not as terrible as I think it would be. It's a fantastic driving it, and it's a fantastic model, like all Tomy and Trackmaster trains are always like. Anyways, I'm going to leave this video here. It was actually quite a fun one to make, and I've actually got a very big, massive selection of Tomy and Trackmaster trains right over my box. And there's a very good look at all of the Tomy and Trackmaster trains. Mind you, one of them is straightforward dead because obviously, hey, that couldn't be recovered. Probably because the driver unit had so much hair in it, of course. But I'd like to say, hey, that is wonderful and it's actually stunning to see. I mean, looking at Luke here, not a chance you'll be able to see this like that. With years to come, I wonder how much of this stuff is going to be sold for. Probably selling over 200 British pounds. Maybe that would equivalent to about 400 Australian dollars. I'm not quite totally sure. You know, exchange rates can pretty much change. That's the skepticalism of how online shopping can be these days. You know, if I was selling that, goodbye, good riddance to your wallet. Anyways, I'm going to straightforward leave this video here. That was actually fantastic of me covering a wide range of stuff. Sorry about the rant that I've talked about, because I do know it is going to cause a complete hiatus. It might jeopardize my usual setting of where I do toy reviews on my YouTube channel, but I'm sure you guys may know me that, hey, I'll try and speak about this in another video's time once I feel better. Anyways, if you really enjoyed this pretty long video, please give this video a very good like, subscribe for more for that videos in the future, and as always, with normal videos like this in the future, ready to be made like so. As always, thanks so much for watching, and goodbye for now.